Good morning everybody, welcome to the vlogs. My name is Amanda, also known as Little Likac, and this is a November vlog all about my daily knitting and crochet and how I fit it in. It is Monday, November the 6th. Today it is time to go back to work, having had 2 weeks off. I'm a teacher, secondary school teacher. I work in Nottinghamshire, so we actually get 2 weeks off in the October half term. I've just been having a quick look around for my stand, my phone stand, and I can't find where I've left it. It might be down in the office. Maybe I took it down in the office yesterday. So coffee, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. It's probably about 10 past now, nearly 6:15. So 6:15 in the morning, coffee is made, haven't drunk it yet, and breakfast is cooking. I am having oat pancakes again this morning. There's a few strawberries left in the fridge, so I'm going to have oat pancakes with maybe a little bit of Nutella and strawberries on them for breakfast. Hey, if you're going to go back to work, you may as well go back to work on a nice breakfast. So last night we went to the firework display, which I put at the end of yesterday's vlog. I realised when I was putting the vlog together at 9:30 last night, 10 o'clock last night, that there really wasn't a lot of knitting shown on there. So I did, hang on a minute, I need to go and turn the pancakes over. Okay, so pancakes are flipped. Oh, Stu's just going to have a little move around. Oh, bless him, last night. He's not liked the fireworks these last couple of nights. He doesn't get really worked up, but you can tell he's not settled, and we were a bit worried going out, leaving him while we went to watch fireworks, but we left Classic FM on. And we've also got like cameras in the house, security cameras outside and inside the house. So we checked on him a couple of times and he wasn't barking or anything like that. I think he just sort of hid himself in the corner and just stayed out the way. Anyway, what was I saying? Right, yes, knitting. I really wish I knew where I'd left that stand. I hope I didn't leave it outside. I used it when I was cleaning out the chickens to take some film of the chickens. Really hope I didn't leave it outside. Anyway, I'm going to have a look in a minute. It's dark out there at the moment. Right, let me show you progress. So, yesterday I did graft the toe of the I'm Too Socksy socks. So that is the first one complete. And last night I cast on and did the first few rounds of the second sock. So that started. So I'm probably going to take that with me. I'll tell you what I'm doing after school in a minute. And then really most of yesterday, when I did any work, knitting or crochet, it was the granny stripe blanket. So I showed this on the podcast yesterday. And I've done that many stripes. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 stripes on the granny stripe blanket last night. Well, during the day yesterday and last night. That's mostly it. I did do a little bit on the hexy cardigan, but I had lots of other things to do yesterday, so not a lot of knitting got done, which is unusual for me for Sunday. Plans for today. So I'll be heading off to work. I'll be heading off to work quite early on. Glasses a ski whiff. I'll be heading off to work early on. I'll be in work by 7:30 at the latest. Just grab my coffee. I need to have a mouthful of coffee. Make sure my pancakes don't burn. Yeah, I'll be to work at 7:30 at the latest. I like to be there really early, particularly on the first few days of term, just making sure I've got things that I need set up, printed out, etc. I've got a full day of teaching. That means 5 lessons. And then after school today, I'm actually going to Nottingham University, to their education department, and they've got a seminar on teaching poetry. And poetry is always an area of teaching that I always, maybe it's my least confident area of teaching perhaps, when it comes to literature. I always think there's new things to learn about teaching poetry anyway, so I'm going to a seminar on that this evening. So the reason, I'm going to take my 2 Socksy socks with me, carry on working on the cuff, because I'll possibly get there, but get some parking, get there about half an hour or so before that seminar actually starts. So hopefully I'll have time to sit down, have a coffee and get a few rows of the cuff done. I'm quite confident, quite happy knitting in public. I have no issues at all about pulling knitting out of a bag anywhere and everywhere I go. So it's one of the ways that I get a lot of knitting done, is because I'm quite happy just to get knitting out anywhere and everywhere. So yeah, probably, hopefully, maybe film a little bit after school before the seminar starts, and then after the seminar. So okay, it's going to be a quiet vlog today. See you in a bit. Good afternoon, everybody. It's nearly 4:30. I've just arrived at Nottingham University. Before I go in or find the building, etc., that I need to go to, I just thought I'd got to share this. I've been listening to Absolute Radio on my way from school to here, and they were doing a feature, what do you have too much of or too many of in your house? And of course I did think balls of yarn, skeins of yarn, probably got too many. They were talking about, you know, things that you know that really you need to get rid of some. Anyway, they've just had a listener on the radio came on, and they said, what do you have too much of then, Jill, or whatever? I think her name was Jill, and she said balls of yarn. And I was like, oh my god. And the 2 presenters were like, that's just the weirdest thing. And then she said, I mean, she claimed she'd got 1,500 balls of yarn, which I'm pretty sure is more than me. And they were like, what? And she said, I'm a yarn hoarder. And they were just laughing their heads off. They'd never heard anything so bizarre. And they said, where do you keep it all? And she said, well, I've got my own room for it. And again, they were just laughing. And it was so funny, because I was just sitting there, because they were saying, that's just the most bizarre thing. I've never heard anything so weird. And I was just sitting there going, that's perfectly normal. Totally normal. So yeah, just had to share that with you before I go in for my poetry seminar. Good evening. Hi everybody. It is 8:37 in the evening. I'm back from the university. Had a couple of hours there with other teachers discussing different approaches to teaching poetry. So that was my evening. It was quite interesting actually, though I'm going to be honest, I was probably the oldest person there. But it's always interesting to meet other teachers, chat about different methodology. Sometimes also it's just kind of reassuring as well, talking about things and kind of going, yeah, other people have similar issues or have similar ways of doing things. That's also quite reassuring. So it was good. It was nice to, and they had amazing cream cakes. It said light refreshments. So I was expecting tea, coffee, if I was very lucky, maybe a sad little packet of biscuits. No, they had full-on cream cakes. I was very happy about that. Also, I have to say, during today, I have had so many messages, lovely messages. So obviously yesterday's vlog, I told you about the departure of my Here Comes the Sun jumper. I'm going to show you actually. Hang on 1 minute. So here it is. Now, I mean, it looks really pretty, but it is way too small, and I'll be lucky if it covers my boobs. But so thank you so much for all the lovely messages. I know I can rely on you guys to understand. So many of you have messaged me actually under my vlog from yesterday saying, so sorry about your jumper. People have actually sent me emails, reached out to me on Instagram and everything to say. So I really appreciate that. It's really nice to know that people do feel my pain. And quite a few of you have suggested trying to use, because it is very felted, that maybe I can actually use the fabric for something else. So yeah, so thank you, Creative Hive Mind. People suggesting a cushion somehow, or a hot water bottle. So I'm gonna have a little think about that. And maybe, yeah, maybe there is some way to use some parts of it. So yeah, this is the jumper that got felted. Husband is still quite upset about it as well, bless him. I've actually got a load of socks that need washing, and so I've just put them into soak in the washing up bowl. They're in soak with Eucalan, and then they will just get washed. And to be fair, I think nearly all of those are superwash yarn, and usually I do throw a lot of stuff in the washing machine, but I'm a bit paranoid myself now, so we'll see. I might just put them in the, I've got a spin dryer, so I might just leave them soaking and then just pop them in the spin dryer and then put them out to dry. I have done no more knitting. I've done no knitting or crochet at all today. Although I took my knitting with me to the university, by the time I got there and parked, I knew I wasn't going to have time to sit around, so I didn't take the knitting out of the bag. So it's 20 to 9. I am really tired. Oh, I've just seen a tassel on my project bag is coming loose. Let's just try and fix that. Oh no, I think I've just made it worse. Oh man, right. It's a tassel on this project bag. It's very pretty, but it's coming apart. I have to take that off. Anyway, so I am really tired, so I don't think I want to work on anything that is going to take very much brain power. See, I can't even get my words out. So I think it will be the I'm Too Socksy Socks. Let's get the cuff done on that. And then maybe some more of that crochet blanket, because I'm actually quite addicted to that at the moment. So I think that's all I'm going to work on this evening. So the I'm Too Socksy Socks I showed you this morning, I've just got the first few rows done of the ribbing for the cuff, so I'm going to work on that. Also, thank you for those of you that have already started sending pictures in. Had quite a few more pictures last night and today for the competition. So if you would like to win a skein of yarn, you need to send me a picture with a winter or festive theme, and I'm going to use a picture for inspiration to do some dyeing at the weekend. And I think, yes, I am going to, on Friday, I'm going to decide, I'm going to narrow it down to 3 pictures, and then I'm going to ask you guys to vote. And then Saturday or Sunday, depending which day the weather is best, because I tend to dye outdoors now if I can. So Saturday or Sunday, I will dye up some skeins of yarn using that picture for inspiration. So today is Monday, so you've still got a few days to send me a picture. You can send it to me via email, littlelikac@gmail.com, or on Instagram. Those are the 2 easiest ways to get in touch with me. Right, so I'm really sorry for the lack of knitting content today, guys. Okay, very, very low on knitting content. Tomorrow evening, no plans. So when I get home from work tomorrow evening, I will be able to do something a little bit more knitty related and show you. Oh, but before I go, if anybody's interested, and if you're not interested in history and Guy Fawkes and Shakespeare and Macbeth, then off you go now. You can leave it now. But if you're interested to know how the Gunpowder Plot and Guy Fawkes is related to Macbeth, let me put my English teacher hat on and tell you. Okay, so the Gunpowder Plot was a plot to assassinate King James I. King James I of England. He was actually King James VI of Scotland. He was king when Macbeth was written by Shakespeare. And before Shakespeare wrote Macbeth, the Gunpowder Plot had happened, the assassination attempt. And the reason why they wanted to assassinate King James is because he was Scottish and he was Protestant, and so a lot of Catholics wanted a Catholic king rather than a Protestant king. So that was why they wanted to kill him. But I don't know if you know this, if they'd actually succeeded in the Gunpowder Plot, if they had succeeded in blowing up Parliament, it was the day of the opening of Parliament. It wouldn't have just been King James who would have died, okay? It would have been King James, his wife, and all their children were due to be at Parliament that day. The whole of Parliament, all the MPs, the whole government would have been killed. And loads of lords and nobles. It would have been the worst ever terrorist attack this country had ever seen, even compared to anything that's happened since. So the fact that it was stopped from happening is an amazing, well, not amazing, but amazingly important thing, because if that had happened, our whole history in this country would be very, very different. So what's that got to do with Macbeth? So King James then became patron of Shakespeare's theatre company. And so Shakespeare needed to write plays that King James would like. So Macbeth, the play Macbeth, is about killing a king. Why would King James like that? He wouldn't like that. He didn't want anybody to kill the king. Well, in Macbeth, the person, Macbeth, who kills a king, ends up being punished by God. He goes crazy, he goes mad. So does Lady Macbeth, his wife. He cannot cope with the guilt, and ultimately he is killed, and the rightful king is put back on the throne. So the play was like a morality story to warn people that you don't go against the king, that you don't try go killing the king, because if you do, God will punish you. And Guy Fawkes was one of the gunpowder plotters, and he wasn't even the leader, actually. He just seems to be the one that got caught and ended up telling who else had been part of the plot. So Bonfire Night and Guy Fawkes Night is nothing to do with any kind of celebration. It was actually a warning, because Guy Fawkes wasn't burnt at the stake or burnt on top of a bonfire. He was hung, drawn and quartered, because that's what happened to traitors in those days. But King James wanted a commemoration, if you like, each year as a warning to people, all right, to celebrate the fact that he hadn't been killed. But the point about putting Guy Fawkes, the dummy, or the effigy, onto the flames was to say that traitors would burn in hell, and that it was a warning that basically you would be get your punishment, your just desserts, if you went against the king. So there you go. There is my little English/history lesson for you. We do teach about it when we teach Macbeth, because we want the audience, we want the students to understand what some of the messages in that play is about, and how some of those messages, he's not saying you should kill a king, he's actually saying you really shouldn't kill a king. And why was he writing about that? Well, because when Macbeth had been written, killing a king was a very real possibility. James I had just about escaped that assassination attempt, but there were plenty of other plots against him at that time. So there you go. That is the history of Bonfire Night, Guy Fawkes, the gunpowder plot, and how it links into the subject that I teach, English literature. I've got lots of little facts and things like that for you if you want. I can tell you all about how Jekyll and Hyde link to the theory of evolution, if you want. Right, okay. I'm going to leave it there. I hope you found that interesting anyway. See you tomorrow. Bye.